ma'am.
Yeah, hi.
Yes.
So the topic is resilience. And thanks for all of you for waiting. So thank you so much for the patience. Let's get straight away to the topic. So in the next few minutes, we'll be discussing about how through classroom activities, which the national education policy tells, at least for standard until 8th, we can inculcate these student autonomy and resilience in the classrooms. I am here to discuss with you because I believe firmly in two things. We teachers, principals, and parents, the way you curate the class hours of your students is going to define the future of India. This is a powerful statement, and I believe each word of this is important. The way we are going to conduct the classes will only define the way our students are going to be useful, good citizens of India in future. And India lives in its classrooms. So let me start with a small poem by Khalil Gibran. I'll just go through the first two lines and then we go to the last few lines. That's the essence that I want to capture at the end of these 30 odd minutes that we'll be discussing over here. It is said that before entering the sea, a river trembles with fear. Then he talks about how the river has undergone a very difficult journey and so it doesn't want to go any further. And the last few lines, the river needs to take the risk of entering the ocean because only then will fear disappear, because that's where the river will know it's not about disappearing into the ocean but of becoming the ocean. We as educators, we as parents, we as stakeholders in the education sector have got some important things to do, because this picture personifies a typical student, whatever age he is. They are curious, they are anxious, they are doubtful, and most importantly, they want to enjoy themselves as well as they are trying hard to keep their parents, teachers happy. They are a confused lot of people, and it is we who can make a difference in their life. And we need not do great things for making this difference. Small things, the way we teach, the teaching methodology that we adopt, the assessment pattern that we have got right from the beginning that they are in kindergarten can make a lot of difference in their lives and in the society. So let us try to understand some of the activities that can be, according to national education policy itself. They have told that it has to be for different ages: foundational stage, preparatory stage, middle stage, secondary stage. You have to use play activity methods. Then when it is in middle stage, it has to be experiential learning. Some of them have already done it with some of my students. Others are suggestions. I'm sure many of you might disagree with what I am saying, but that's what this forum is all about. I'm trying to propose certain things which might not go well with many of you. Let us debate on it, and I'm ready and open for any discussion. Am I audible and can I proceed?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, you're audible,
Yeah,
ma'am.
thank you. Thanks. So this through this activity or projects, we'll try to inculcate self-awareness and self-management. The activities could be common for both of them. Similarly, social awareness and relationship skills, the activities or projects or role plays that are suggested will be common for both. And finally, responsible decision making. Give credit to CASEL, that is collaborative for academic, social, and emotional learning, from which I have picked up these 5 points on which we'll try to curate some kind of projects, activities which will be useful for inculcating both student autonomy and resilience in them early on in the life. So before we start, this is something that we all need to understand, and we already have understood. Teachers need to put more effort in preparing for the class than the effort they put during the class. Nowadays, we all have started appreciating that we must allow the students perform in the class. We have to be facilitators. If we have to be facilitators, the amount of preparation that we do in order to empower the students in the class. In the class, the students should be the performers. We have to be the facilitators. So where is our work? Our work is before and after the class. So first one is self-awareness. Many of you will be are from North India. Others also will be able to relate to this movie Tare Zameen Par. If you ask many of them what is the most important scene, they might not relate to what I have shown on the right hand side of the screen, where the mother, after the child leaves home and goes to a hostel, goes through his collection and sees a flip book where the child has beautifully expressed in nearly 100 pages how from the first page he is part of the family, and slowly as she flips the pages, that boy moves away from the family. So it is through that way that the child expresses what he is feeling. That is what self awareness is all about: who you are, what you want, how you feel, and why you do the things that you do. Children have got different methods of expressing themselves. They are capable of expressing themselves. We have to provide them an avenue. It cannot be a monotonous instructional way where we tell them and it is thrust our opinion on them. They know, they even if they cannot talk, they have got other methods by which they can express themselves, they can understand how they are feeling. Only thing is that we don't have the time and patience in order to make them self realize or self aware of what they are. So, formative assessment until grade 3 could have any of this. Instead of having a test or a project work where the parents are putting in their effort, we could have storytelling, movie clip, show a clip of the movie and discuss a lot about it. Make students talk, express themselves about it. Drawing, singing, playing an instrument, or gardening. Children express or create awareness about themselves, understand themselves through any of these means. I would like to specifically discuss on a method called as story discussion, which I'll take it you through. So let me give you an example of a small, this was a WhatsApp forward only, which talked about a mother enters a room and sees her child having two apples in her hand. She asks the child, will you share one with me? The child first immediately bites one apple, and the next moment it bites another apple. At that time, there is a pause. Anything can be interpreted from it. And then there is a last line telling that the child tells, Mama, this is more sweeter, have this happen. This is a very small story, but you could take this to a small classroom and discuss a lot. Ask the students after the story is told, do they agree with what you want to tell? Might be usually the method that is adopted is you tell the story and tell that perceptions. You want to teach about perceptions. We all thought that the child is greedy, wanted to bite into both the apples. But in this case, what happened was actually the child was trying to give the sweeter apple to the mom. And we talk about this is what perception is all about, and we conclude the class and walk away from them. Yes, definitely it leads to some amount of knowledge enhancement, but what would be better? To a 3 or 4 year old children in the class, do ask this. Did this happen in your class? Might be some child will tell, we cannot afford two apples. There is lesson for it in other students who are watching you. My mother cuts the apple and shares it, could be another answer. So sharing is another thing that is coming from the mouth of a child itself. The other child could opine, I don't like apples. So he's not able to relate to the story itself. So these are emotions or self-awareness which is being tabled by the child. Instead of the teacher telling the story and ending it with perception, these are different emotions or awareness of a child that is coming on table. Don't you think for a 4 to 8 year higher grade, the same story, the discussion could be, don't you think that child should have given both the apples to his or her mother? When the parents are old, then we start asking, isn't it the moral responsibility of the children to take care? Why not know their opinion early on by asking such questions, what they feel about it? Ask them to emote, ask them to become aware of what they feel about the situation. Or there could be a question, what is the great fuss around sweet apples? The very concept as to why the child has to give the sweet apple. What is the great fuss? I like the apples the way they are. The shape and size has to be better, and it can be so. could be one discussion, but allow them to discuss. The small two-liner story can bring out so many things that the students want to express. The second thing is about self-management. It could be done for 10 to 11 years. This is where I feel that I'm going to tell something that might be radically incorrect for many of you people, but I'm ready for discussion at the end of it, and I respectfully accept all your suggestions, whatever you have to tell. So you could have small case studies, put them into situations. Say, for example, you have to choose between a cousin's wedding and an inter-school competition. Once again, give them two options. You are likely to win or you are likely to lose. Both the situation, what will you choose? Let them talk. Many of them might not speak, they don't want to choose, but slowly and slowly, this is how you need to make them express themselves. And I call something called as staggering caselets. This is something that I use in the class very often. Give them like this, a caselet. Once they answer, build upon the answers itself to dwell deeper into their emotions and understand if they are able to manage themselves, or they will be able to manage themselves in difficult situations. Ask them during online exams, you are asked to just pay 20 rupees to join a WhatsApp group which will give away the answers. So the child will tell, no, I'll prepare for the exam and write, I'll not join. So you choose not to. And then you, after some time, the staggering question could be, the third exam you could not study because you had fever, there was some problem in the house, there was no current. So what will you do? Ask them to express as to what they are likely to do. And even if the child has given an answer that I might go and join the WhatsApp group for 20 rupees where I will get the answers, um, do talk to them about Bill Gates and Mukesh Ambani, who did not complete their graduation early on in life, when they are 5 years old and other things. Give them situation, let them answer. Then don't tell them that this is wrong. Just ask them to reflect. Is it necessary to take that path when there have been other people successful? And this has to be continuously done. After such classes, the students might tease uh, the one who gave answer. So what happens is the other people might not answer in future. But you don't want such a situation to happen. You want people to express themselves, to anticipate and handle such kind of situation, such kind of students. Make that itself as a learning experience. When you stand for something that is truthful, people might mock at you. Show them early on that it's okay to be mocked at. But don't impress your ideas on them. Just ask them to reflect. Yes, fine. You said that you might opt for the WhatsApp group and try to cheat the online exam. But don't you think there are other people who did not complete graduations? Skills is more important than your degree. Ask them to reflect on that early on. Let them do it. And so give them formative assessment mark for all those students who stood on the podium, were ready to reflect and answer. Now, when they say class activity, this is how you define it. You might ask, I have got a big class and how can I do it? When we have to be very, very strict about the marks and other things in the secondary grade, I've got other activities to discuss with you. Right now, it's okay when if a child talks fluently, another child doesn't talk, and you're making some mistakes in the assessment, it's fine enough. It's all about they reflecting and understanding self-management. Going further, you could also ask them, you are invited to a high profile party, express your feelings. And also tell you're not invited, you're not invited. And when I tell high profile party, I mean you can customize it with these words: party where the drugs are there, party where you are not allowed to, you have to wear short dresses in which you're not comfortable in. You can customize as a teacher, whatever place that you are. There accordingly you can customize. You are told that you are not invited because you are a police officer's son. Everyone in the class is going. You may choose to have or not have drugs and other things. This is what you mean by staggering. Once they answer, put more and more pressure on them and see how they answer. Will you tell your father or not? Will you go or not if invited? All these questions are putting them in a situation which has not happened. right early on in the age. So when they are really in such a situation, some learnings from this particular thing or activity that they did will help them out. Why I'm telling you all this is when you Google search teachers, your little efforts will make a big difference. Look at all the number of stories that are coming about youth drug abuse and other things. We can try to minimize over there. You search for the word drug abuse alone, you have got all these clinics or drug management things which is opening up everywhere, particularly in states, many of the states. I wouldn't like to name the state, but why should we invest our infrastructure in such kind of things? Can't be corrected right in the beginning. I'm not telling by doing these role plays, people will change, but ask them right on when they are young, let them reflect. And when they are in such a situation later on in their life, this learning of theirs might make a difference. So your role is very, very important. Social awareness, the second one. You can call a psychologist or to talk in your this one. What we do most of the time is whenever you call experts, many a times they are rattling out facts about how things are bad, statistics as to how things are bad. Instead, make them speak what good can be done. So you need to curate the talk. Talk to the expert. Most of us believe that if we get an expert, they will be able to do a great job. You are the expert in the class. You only know your student the best. So you need to actually curate the talk that the expert is going to give. They might not like it. I know many of them will not like it. But if you have to really make some change, you can talk to the person, the expert who's coming, and make the talk in such a way that it will be useful to them. You can have children's grandparents coming, sharing, once again, curate the experience. Otherwise, they will be going on a lengthy talk, which the students might not be interested. Ask them to find out from the neighborhood what good deed the family did, the neighbors did in the last 1 month. Ask them to talk to their driver's family or mate's family, and it could be vice versa also. If you are in a school where the children come from the service sector, ask them to speak to their boss's family and ask what about them. Have children exchange program within 4 months. Social studies, this can be a formative assessment. It is purely based on the merit that the teacher gives to these activities, but we believe that teachers will not deny anything to them. So, soul satisfied people. The next one is a story that I saw. I'm just taking you to the next level of how certain changes that we make in early years of a student can make a lot of difference in their life later on. So, this particular story actually talks about how a particular sister is asking some stranger to buy 2 pens, and when the person refuses to buy the pen, she asks, how can we feed ourselves, that is sister and brother? Then the man tells, I'll definitely give you something to eat, and he brings out 2 packets of biscuits. The girl takes one and tells that this is more than enough, because what will you have? That word, what will you have, is very, very important. So similarly, when I was reading through this story, I was able to recollect a particular management video that I saw when a management consultant was going through the Nasik terrain. He had seen an old lady making bakra in the highway, and when he stopped and had a chat with her and gave her some suggestions as to how she could improve her sales. He suggested, why not have some tea also? Then she pointed at the man on the right and asked, then what will he say? So the question is, you can, through such stories, real life stories, discuss about feeling satisfied. Ask the students, are they feeling satisfied some time or other in their life, when they were taken out for outing, when they were taken out to a mall, when they got the phone that they wanted, the vacation they wanted? Ask them to feel and express their satisfaction. Discuss about success and what it means in relation to others in family, society. Discuss about gender pay equality. See, even maths or accounts teachers might ask, how can we do all this? These are related to social studies. There is something called as implications, right? or discussion at the end of the answer that you get, you can make a lot of difference. Give some problem based on the salary of husband and wife, and based on the answer, ask for their reflections. Some of the students might even write, this is wrong because the wife's salary is more than that of the husband's. So that needs some kind of discussion with the student. So be the moderator, appreciate a valid point, appreciate people speaking themselves for the first time, give them marks. This could be sociology, psychology, accounts for class 11, and formative assessment. Here the teacher's role is very, very important. We can always tell that my subject does not allow us to do it, but think beyond, and you are the one who are deciding what classroom activity that you want to have. So if you do all these consistently, once again, we will not face such kind of situations. My entire presentation started with this first thing. Don't ask JE ranks or GATE scores, IIT Bombay. Is this enough? Just by holding back a group of students for, or we have got all these anti-ragging or anti-dowry placards and everything. On the other side, you have got brilliant doctors who are jailed, one doctor dead, all because we are not able to manage our social relationships, are not able to accept certain things. So right in the beginning, when they are very young itself, if we allow them to emote on such feeling, if there is a child who is telling that I'm not satisfied at all with my life, I'm not at all happy with my life, that's something that needs to be done with the child. Make him or her understand. If you're doing it when the clay is wet, it is much more easier. These situations cannot be fought with some placards or some boards which tell you don't do that. After all, they are adults. When you tell them, then it's going to be difficult. Let's inculcate when they are growing, when their minds are growing, when their minds are shaping. So relationship skills, volunteer for events, have projects, interact with people at home, give them an assignment, talk to you somebody at home, ask them about their profession, write it and submit in your own words. No chat GPT will give you the answers. So I would like to discuss also some of the projects that I have already done, and it can be done for the secondary and higher secondary students. For example, senior student entrepreneurship projects that we did for the college students, wherein we identified that there is a growing aging population in India, particularly Kerala, and these students started small entrepreneurship venture. One was an entertainment services for the elderly. That is, they collect some 20 rupees from a few elderly persons and entertain them through yoga, some book discussions, and other things for 1 hour. The church usually gives its space for free. We Care is providing essential services. This tuition services for children was highly successful. They had a huge transaction where we connected, or the students connected lonely adults with children in the neighborhood who had to be retaught multiplication tables after COVID, have to be retaught the poems which they have forgotten, and the parents did not have time. The elderly people had lot of time and patience to do it. Senior entrepreneurship, where the students made Instagram posts and other things to market whatever the seniors wanted to market. And Know the Elderly was a documentary. There are many people who have retired with lot of memories associated with their professional life. They would like to consolidate it. And this Know the Elderly was such an initiative. So these can be projects that can be given to 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th graders. When they interact with an entirely different cohort and try to put things together for them, their perception, their value systems might get rubbed in some direction. That is important. So apart from that, there could be many real life things that the world and India is facing. Ask them to do role plays on that, and tell them whenever you're making a role play, in between tell what lessons of marketing, what lessons of business ethics that was taught in theory you are able to relate to. So what happens is we are not reading all these Commonwealth Games or Speak Asia as scam in the media. We are also able to relate where things went wrong. So when these people are holding positions of power, they know where to put the stop and where they need to have their ethics in place. or the teacher needs to talk about it, bring it out. We can't monotonously tell that this person was unethical because of which it happened. Ask the students to reflect. Ask them to reflect, come out with answers where things went wrong. The next prime minister was one very good effort, wherein the students came up with their own parties, with their own ideologies. And one thing that these people told was, ma'am, we were first time voters and we were more, knowledgeable. Otherwise, we would have just inked our hand and showed in Instagram that we were first time voters. Now, we really did some research to understand whom we are voting for. Another thing, we have got campuses with these boards which tell politics is banned over here. Why should we have that? Shouldn't these people be actively discussing what is required for social development of their area, who is working for them, and shouldn't they be driving a movement so that that representative gets elected? These people are powerful people, and why we should tell that politics is banned over here? Make it an event where they themselves reflect on what is needed for them, the society. So I leave you with the last of the projects, which I'll be elaborately discussing on, which is restructuring the curriculum. So designing a project. When you sit to, like I told you, the teachers need to spend a lot of time understanding what projects. See, these projects can be at one go given to a lot of 60 students, because they will be doing a lot of things, and each one according to their capability has to be marked individually. So this particular project was based on the tourism industry, where they were told that they need to prepare, they need to represent one particular state. A group of students, say a group of 15 to 20 students, will be representing one state, and they have to make a presentation as well as a travel itinerary so that the Indian tourists visit that particular state. It had to have an eco-friendly poster, serve the regional traditional dishes to the people, and broadcast a recorded traditional dance from there. All this a group of 15 to 20 have to do, and the teacher just as a part of everyday class activity, as what is the progress in that particular area. And we had this beautiful program called as India at Travelers Heaven. And this, I'll go one by one. The poster that you see is the three colors that are used. Orange is made from flowers, black color from coal, and brown color is from red sand. How when I saw this particular poster on the day of the event, I was really amazed. I asked them, how did you do all this? They said that we found out through YouTube. National education policy tells that self-learning at the higher secondary level and the college level is very important, and this is a testimony to it. If all that the teacher saw, no effort from the teacher's side. Only mandate that was given is there has to be an eco-friendly poster. So the group within the group, which was responsible for this poster, went to the YouTube, learned how to do it, and they were able to give it. A lot of self-learning also happened. This particular poster was curated by a student who knew this particular technology. They put together, they researched a lot of places in Odisha, and the students all were from Maharashtra. All the team members were from Maharashtra and some South India, but they put together all these things of Odisha. This is very much doable, can be given to 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th graders. Problems called solving skills. When the team Assam wanted to present something and they didn't have money for it, they tried different methods online. Then they went to something called as, even I did not know, there's something called as Assam Bhavan, where they went and tried to see if they will get it for free. Then they bought the instruments themselves and created it. So these are things which allows them to explore, make a better persons of themselves, and solve their own problems. This is a problem that they solved for their project work. Similarly, if there is a problem in their life, they are likely to explore different options. I was amazed when these students, I was able to get all these, and I'm presenting this in front of you because I spoke to them. Otherwise, what I get to see is the end product. I mark them, I finish it off. But when I spoke to them about their experience, this is what they told, how they fought, how they decided that this is too costly, they'll go for other alternatives, and finally came up with this. And these are the dishes that many of the boys had done it. Boys in the group learned it from YouTube, and I'm not being gender specific, but was amazed by the talent that they had. They were all management students, but they did it. Once again, something that is doable. What the way they express their talent, you give an opportunity to everybody. So the last of the points, responsible decision making. Sustainability, I don't know how many of you really speak about it in your classes, whichever subject that you are talking. We are a signatory to the 2030 Sustainable Developmental Goals, and I think it should start from the classrooms. We tried doing it in our college. Within 17 weeks, 17 SDGs. These SDGs have got micro tasks. We picked up one task, and group of 4 students tried to implement it in their own way. These are some of them. We installed sanitary vending machine by getting sponsorship in a local school. We help the mentally challenged. We means my students challenge plant flowers, each one of it. So what happened at the end of it, each student at least knew about the sustainable development goal for which they were working on, and some amount of sensitization happened. Many of them, even though they were in post graduation, were not aware what these SDGs are. It's a sorry state of affairs. Why don't we start it at school? Many of the posh schools might have it. What about the other schools? Let's have activities, not only teaching about them. Let's let them act. There are many micro tasks. There will be definitely something like the beach cleaning activity that they did. Small children also can do in some way or other. So I have this website of mine where I put all these activities and other things. I welcome others also to contribute to it. And thank you for your patient listening.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah.
So now let's move on to the interactive session. Participants can now pose their questions in the chat box or raise their hands using the icon provided. Ma'am, we have our first question here. What strategies can educators employ to foster greater student autonomy in their learning journey?
See, first and foremost, it is about ownership. When we are telling we want to give student autonomy, basically they should own whatever they are doing. Many of the projects that I have been done by their students itself. Only the ideation stage I am with them. Afterwards, if they relate to it, if they feel they are going to gain from something from that, they really put their heart and soul. But if not, then it doesn't come out the way it has to come. So basically, when you want to foster it, curate something that is interesting. At the same time, whatever lessons that you want to impart through that, that has to be done. So the student teacher's role is in curating as well as allow the students perform. And once they have performed, just casually be a facilitator who comments on it and allow them to once again reflect. Many of the students, upon the evaluation, reflection, or they might disagree with you. Allow them to do that. That's how they learn and grow.
Thank you, ma'am, for that.
Yeah.
We have a next question here. How can parents and caregivers be involved in supporting the development of autonomy and resilience in their children's education?
Fine. So I told many of the projects that can be given where we say that go to the house and talk to your parents. So give them time. Give them time. Don't look upon such projects as silly projects, or just do a chat GPT and give it to them, telling that this is what you need to answer, or don't cook while you give the answers for them to write. Sit with them. It might be a simple project where the teacher has asked a 5-year-old to come back telling what mama does at home or what she does at her office. Sit, give the child the importance, talk, and so a lot of learning happens through that itself. And the child feels, when a young child feels very much empowered when for such a question that he or she has asked, the parent is giving so much importance. Give more importance. Let you might not be able to teach Hindi or Sanskrit or social studies on the day. If such kind of life skill related project or this is given, give importance, talk to the child, ask him or her what he or she feels about the things that are discussed. Giving importance to such project works at home will definitely encourage the teacher also, as well as the child in learning. And apart from that, the small simple things, I think it is available in YouTube's and I mean great parenting and everything that we continue to do, but let us not overdo it. Because some of the young parents have started overdoing, telling that you should not use the word knife or other things in front of a child. That's also too bad. Don't take it to that extreme. So they must be conditioned and they have to grow up in the normal environment.
Thank you, ma'am, for that. Uh, Preeti John, would you like to ask your question now?
Yes, ma'am. I can. I want to ask that how I can manage the pre-primary class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The pre-primary class, that is, you mean 3 to 5 years or younger to them?
Yes,
3 to 5 years, right?
yes, ma'am.
Yeah, 3 to 5 years. So, if suppose you are teaching in an English medium school or in any other, I mean, vernacular medium school, talk to them and make them talk. The mistake that we are doing is we do role plays, we do activities and everything, but what we do is it is monotonous. We end things with our impression, with what we think about that particular situation. Say, for example, we might have so many moral story books and everything, but what we do is we end it with the moral that we want to give them. Might be they have see something else in it, allow them to speak, and when a beautiful thought comes from a little kid, do express it to others, let everybody clap for it, and telling that this is another way of looking at it. So when I said about the story of apple, whether I don't know whether you're there, one child might tell that in my house they cut the apple and give it, we share it. That sharing concept automatically comes up from the mouth of the child itself. So like that, don't stop with the moral of the story as given in the book or as we have been taught. Go one step further. Ask them, do they agree with the moral that is told, or they have got different thoughts? They might really have different thoughts, and encourage such thought process.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am, for that. We have another question by Meenakshi Iyer. What about the teachers who want to teach using new technology, but they live in a small village? What can you do for them?
The government has come up with very good infrastructure and other. We have got many portals like the Swayam portal. I'm aware of for the higher education, but I think even for schools there are many things that are available. Using, we have got smart boards which are donated by. I mean, corporates, public-private participation is there in developing the technology over there. Or many a times I will tell you that whatever you learn using the technology, if you are able to share it with the students, it has got, it reaches out to many. When I teach subject like rural marketing, I have read that complete book of Varghese Kurian, and when we share it every day, it goes to, they all listen to us. So if the technology is not available over there, whatever content you want to share, you can share, and definitely I think if a genuine attempt is made, even the farthest place technology is, you have to be innovative in that. Or you can ask the students itself, they will tell you how they are watching other things, or ordering from other online sites, how they are using technology in the remote areas. Many a times we feel handicapped, we are not doing it, but you ask the students or the underprivileged or the ones who are not having money, they have got a way out. Jugaad happens everywhere in India. So definitely the answers will come from them itself. Thank you for the question, ma'am. A very relevant one.
Thank you, ma'am, for that.
Mm.
We have another question here. What strategies can be implemented to create a supportive classroom environment where students feel empowered to take risks and learn from mistakes?
Uh, So anything that the teacher tells in the class should be reflective. and should not be instructional. So even if you want to scold a child for doing something wrong, just ask him a question which you want him to reflect on openly. Let him openly reflect on that and tell what he feels about it. Instead of giving your verdict, let the verdict come from his consciousness. Might be his lips will not speak the truth, but in his mind, the thought process will be seeded. So when you do this, they will be bold enough. Allow them to, or many a times what we feel is in today's class, we need to complete this particular discussion. So we don't allow questions to just flow. So even if you are not able to complete, leave it for self-learning. If your principal or headmistress gives that much of autonomy to you, you can build the environment that you are asking for. If there is a deep discussion on a topic which is going to have far-reaching implication, allow it to happen. Don't stop it just because you're running short of time and you have to complete the syllabus. Many a times, let it be reflective process of learning, then we telling that this is correct and that is wrong. Let them only reflect. Might be they will reflect and open up their mouth and tell what you did not want them to tell. But in their mind, the change is made already. That is what we want.
Thank you, ma'am, for that. Ma'am, we have one more question here. How do cultural and socio-economic factors influence the development of autonomy and resilience in students? And how can educators address these disparities?
If we are, if the students are from a cosmopolitan city, we do have all these things inculcated in the syllabus itself. The teachers also inculcate all these things from right from gender sensitivity to other things in their everyday curricula. So it's not a problem as such. But in some semi-urban and rural areas, the teachers have to, for that they themselves should be able to come out of whatever shackles of culture is binding them into. And basically, it is through discussions. It could be some incident in a newspaper that you want to discuss in the class and ask them their opinion. Many people who come from small town to as service providers in big city find a cultural shock when they see these empowered women and other things. It is not their mistake. It is because they have not been exposed to such kind of empowerment right in the early years. So whatever happens, whatever instances, newspapers are powerful sources of discussion for you. What is happening in your society, what the students think about it. Spend some time to reflect on it. See if you can put some questions in the question paper based on that. That is reality. Instead of what happened long back and this BC and that this, why don't you relate to what is happening right now? Right now, from even incidences where women were not allowed inside a temple to now they've been given the right to go. So many things. What the students think about it? Ask their opinion, and just make a disclaimer right in the beginning that everybody is free to opine. Nobody should take it to heart or be feeling bad about it or take it vent about it later on in the class. The classroom should be a safe place for everybody, even the one who is very much muted, to voice their opinion. That is important. The teacher can create it.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for that. We express our gratitude to Ms. Mahalakshmi for generously sharing her valuable insights. The session was very informative, and a heartfelt thank you to all the participants for joining us. We appreciate your presence and we wish everyone a wonderful evening ahead.
Thank you so much to the participants and to the organizers. It was a pleasure and a very good 1 hour spent. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.